Brick filming is an extremely niche part of the LEGO community, but that's not to say that there aren't a lot of brick films out there. If you just go on YouTube and search for brick films, you'll be scrolling for a very long time. In this series, BrickFilm Friday, I hope to show some of the best brick films that I have seen personally, and I'm going to be giving them an in-depth analysis, so that you don't have to go and find brick films for yourself. In this first episode, we're going to be looking at two brick films from one person. It is episode 1 and 2 of A Clone Trooper's story, with a combined total of about 1.2 million views. These are made by Mega Space Fighter Productions, and they are extremely impressive. Let's get right into it. So, let's start with the story. Kurt Shepard, the main character in these brick films, was someone who was in the Naboo Royal Guard. But when the Clone Wars broke out, he decided to join the Grand Army of the Republic and became an officer. The first brick film is basically just an introduction to the main character, Kurt Shepard, explaining how he was part of the Naboo Royal Guard and everything else I just said. The second episode, however, is when the story really begins. It starts with them jumping out of hyperspace into where I think they were supposed to regroup with some other clones, but they end up in the middle of a fighter battle with quite a few destroyed ships. They end up having to abandon ship and they land in their escape pod on a moon. They then are trying to navigate to find some other clones or just find anything to help them, but they are ambushed by a few droids. Finally, at the end, they find Plo Koon and his top general.
Hello, brothers.
And then that is where it ends. However, there is at least one more episode which is being made. There may even be a fourth one, I'm not entirely sure. Now, with all this story cleared up, let's get into the actual techniques used to make this brick film. Now, first of all, the frames per second rate is very high in this brick film. I'm not sure exactly how high, but from what I can tell, it's 30 or more, which is incredibly impressive, as many people just animate at 15 and maybe 24 if they're going for very detailed animation. So that is most impressive. These brick films also use a lot of miniature LEGO lights. This just adds a separate element to this brick film, which just make it that much better. I love seeing these miniature lights used in many other people's brick films, but they're often used for no particular reason. But all of these lights serve a very good functional purpose. Now, my favourite part about this brick film was just a small detail which I noticed. Most people, when they have a character talking, they'll just have their arms moving and things, and maybe even their mouths moving if they don't have a helmet on. Obviously, they could not use mouths for these minifigures because most of them are clones with helmets. So I noticed instead of having a normal LEGO head underneath the helmet, they had a 1x1 brick, which allowed them to move the helmet forwards and backwards and side to side, to make it look like they were actually moving their head while they were talking. This is a very nice detail which I plan on using in the future. The final thing I wanted to touch on was the use of CGI and the editing. Now, there are a few scenes, especially in space and also when they're crash landing into the moon in their escape pod, where some CGI is used, and it is used very well. Sometimes people don't like using any CGI, which can take away from the brick film, and sometimes they use a bit too much, which just makes it feel not Lego-y. But I feel like there's a perfect amount of real stuff and CGI in this brick film. They also use quite a few green screens and things just to get the basic space background and also some of the other ships in the shot. All of the blaster effects are done in a very interesting way. I believe lots of them are using the kryptonite piece from the LEGO DC sets in that green colour for that blast in the first one, and then also for some red ones I think as well in the second one, with all of the ships firing all the lasers at each other. Overall, all of these brick films are incredibly impressive. I did mention before that they are definitely working on a third one, and I'm not sure if that will be the final one. There may even be a fourth, so make sure you watch out for that. Of course, go and watch these two videos right now. They are very, very good and very well made. They're by Mega Space Fighter Productions, as I said before. and they are just on his YouTube channel, so you can find them there. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Brickfilm Friday, and goodbye.